Hey, this is Scott, and Scott Golden as it is, and this is the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel. And we've got nearly 2,200 of these for your listening pleasure. This is the Wrestling Challenge Review Series for the 9th of May, 1993, including Raymond Rougeau conducting an interview with Luna Vachon. She claims Sensational Sherry is jealous of her and that she said she'd destroy her when she gets her in the ring, featuring also a special report segment on the previous week's interview with The Undertaker from Superstars of Wrestling, and the debut of the Smoking Guns vignettes continue, as does a King of the Ring report, with comments from Bret Hart and Jim Duggan regarding their tournament matches and footage of Hulk Hogan being interviewed once again on Thunder in Paradise set regarding his match with Yokozuna, and Mr. Perfect and Doink the Clown regarding their King of the Ring qualifying match set for the following week. King of the Ring qualifier kicks us off here. Jim Duggan and Papa Shango running clothesline gets Duggan a win at 4:39. Of course, Duggan ends up going into the contest with Bam Bam Bigelow, as it were. Basic stuff and nothing to necessarily write home about by any stretch of the imagination. Duggan, of course, kind of legendary, so he kind of gets a pass on being not best in the ring at this point. However, we kind of continue to see that trend of just, guys, to be totally honest, resting on their laurels. Duggan, of course, in 1993, though, still a major enough star that a match with Papa Shango, while I wouldn't call it a big deal, certainly would call it a deal that he is committed and propered to. Hard shots by Papa Shango, Irish whips, as it were. And Duggan hits a clothesline. Does have a little bit of trouble knocking Papa Shango off his feet effectively, efficiently, and manages to do what he can where he can in order to bring about a slower style punch kick by Papa Shango, and actually using a reverse chinlock in a less than 5 minute match. Finally, Duggan, though, hits the big back body drop and the running clothesline. Duggan is victorious, advancing into the first round. The King of the Ring, Bam Bam Bigelow, going to be his opponent. Gene Okerlund out there talking about the Steiners, or talking about Money Incorporated, the Steiners, and Money Incorporated on a collision course going forward. Also talking about upcoming house show series of events with Hogan and Beefcake. Sergeant Slaughter has been designated as the special guest referee at the time. Slaughter refereeing a Hogan tag match, especially when it's less than 2.5 years since the WrestleMania 7 run, when Hogan and Slaughter were anything but friends. Just weird to me. But anyway, Virgil comes in next. Virgil facing off against an enhancement talent, and does pretty well. Hammerlocks and the like. Basic stuff, nothing worth writing home about. Defeating Tim Patterson with a Russian leg sweep in 2:21. Virgil does launch himself pretty aggressively over the top rope, and pretty hard drop kicks as well there. Virgil aggressively remaining in control of things, and ultimately Virgil hits a Russian leg sweep and nails a good deal there. Undertaker manages to get in position, promising to eradicate the Giant Gonzalez once and for all. Gonzalez, not impressed by the threats of the Undertaker, says that he will finish the Undertaker. Things were unfinished between them at WrestleMania a couple of weeks before. Damien Demento up next in an enhancement match here. Very punch kick, somewhat I wouldn't call it sloppy style, but the most punishing thing he does is maybe a clothesline. Defeating Billy Jones in 2:07 via a knee drop. Nobody doesn't see that coming. Anyway, Demento certainly very aggressive. Hits a clothesline, gets a victory. As mentioned, the Luna Vachon promo basically says that she's going to eradicate Sensational Sherry once and for all. She seems pretty convinced of this. The Steiner brothers facing off against an enhancement talent team. Steiner brothers, of course, winning the World Tag Team Championships in June. So, gonna get them ready for that responsibility. Rick and Scott Steiner defeating Louis Piccoli, Bobby Young, 326, when Scott pins Young after a Bulldog off the top double team maneuver. Also, the Steiner screwdriver, which we see in later years from Scott Steiner, is employed here, and other aggressive offensive tactics. Tactics of offense, of course, pretty big deal here. Ultimately, we get Scott Steiner hip tosses, German suplex modified, and as mentioned, the top rope bulldog. Steiner squash is always kind of fun to watch, just in the sense that they are aggressive. Mr. Fuji promises to end Hulkamania once and for all, and actually kind of does. With the help of Yokozuna, of course, at the King of the Ring in June, as Hogan leaves for the next 9 years or so. Hulk Hogan basically says he's going to end Yokozuna once and for all. Bret Hart says that he's been overlooked a little bit too much, and he's unimpressed. Bam Bam Bigelow and Typhoon will have a King of the Ring qualifying match next week on Raw. Doink and Mr. Perfect will have one right here next week on Challenge, and ultimately that doesn't quite go the way that he intends. Bam Bam Bigelow here is up next. Bigelow, of course, pretty big guy, no pun intended, and on the heels of his bigger match coming up at the King of the Ring, better for his time period. Anyway, Bam Bam Bigelow defeats Terry Zeller. Diving headbutt 254. He doesn't really need the 254. Tosses him across the ring, hits a bunch of offensive maneuvers. Boom, boom, bam, bam. There you go. And ultimately, diving headbutts and top rope headbutts along the way by Bigelow leads him to a victory. We go back to the event center and upcoming house shows. Still hyped up pretty well. Of course, as mentioned, Bigelow going to move to the onto the King of the Ring tournament in the next little while, and we will be back with more right after this.